So, Larry Goldberg, if you had been driving, I'm sorry, being driven for the last umpteen hours through rain and snow, no snow, horrible conditions, and always, concerned that you were going to be late for your appointment down in Florida in any other car, would you be as chipper as you are right now?
No, I really wouldn't be. I've spent I left home at 3 o'clock yesterday, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I stopped at about 7 o'clock in the evening, stayed over, got up at 7 o'clock this morning, hit the trail. I mean, I've listened to a very funny book. I've listened to several important YouTube videos. I have caught up with some calls. Yesterday during the drive, I had a very important call on a fairly significant, very significant money raise, and did some business. And by the way, in between, the car drove me to Florida
By
from
the way,
North Carolina.
yes.
So it was, this is the future and it's here. And, people are talking about how Uber and Lyft and Waymo are going to get hit very hard. I'm thinking the airlines are going to get hit very hard.
I,
I mean,
yeah.
why fly anymore? The amount of trouble and pain and suffering that attends flying compared to how easy it goes with the driving
Yes. Yeah.
doesn't make any sense at all.
For me in Southern California, where I live, I'm about 5 miles from Vegas, 5 hours, and about 8 hours to San Francisco, 7, 8 hours to San Francisco. And that's always been should I drive or should I fly?
Yeah,
With the
yeah,
Tesla, it would make the decision
yeah.
a ton easier.
And
So, yeah,
and
yeah,
and
yeah,
next Friday, I
yes.
get to pick up my wife's Model Y.
Okay, you're going to get a new Model Y. Now, are you going to go down to Texas and take a cab to pick? No. Okay, so that is the new thing. Some people, maybe everybody, can fly to Texas, take a cyber cab ride, or not maybe a cyber cab. I'm not, did they say cyber cab or just a Robotaxi?
No, it's just this.
It's a
Yeah,
Robotaxi. Be better if it's a cyber cab. They got a few.
yeah. Well, it will be in due course.
Right? And take that to the Austin factory and then pick up your car from there and then drive it home. So that's kind of a new incentive for people.
Yeah, from a tax point of view, it doesn't work for us.
I
We've
see.
got to
Okay.
actually take delivery in North Carolina. That's true in many states, by the way.
Okay. All right.
Maybe they have a way of fixing that. Maybe they can give you a temporary license to drive to the dealership, and then the dealership can give you the license. I don't know what the law is, but yeah, it would be really nice to be able to pick up your car. I do know that the car is in production right now. When I bought it, which was Saturday, it was in production. They said it'd probably come out of production on Wednesday or Thursday,
Oh, okay.
and then it'll be, in the dealership ready to go on Friday.
Wow. Super. Amazing. All right. So,
But I will tell you this.
yes.
I think we're going to get awfully close to 500,000 deliveries this quarter.
Now, Larry, on Monday, I asked you that question. That was the first time that I asked you, and you said, I don't care. That's what you
I
told
don't care. No, no, I literally, it doesn't factor into my
me.
valuation, it doesn't
I know,
factor
I know.
into my buying stock.
Just giving
But
you a hard time, Larry.
now that I'm seeing the numbers
Yeah.
and with the deliveries going on, I think we're going to get awfully close to 500,000, which, may be part of the reason that the stock is popping.
I do think that's part of the reason because I think people are going to have to adjust their numbers. And
Yeah.
so we've seen that before, how we get closer and closer to
Yeah.
the second, and then closer and closer to the earnings call, and a bunch of the uh, guys
Yeah, the
out
indicator is Troy. Troy has picked up his
there.
estimates consistently every week now.
Right. Yeah, he's up around 467 now, I think.
Yeah.
Street is still sitting at 432. So is there a real possibility we'll see the street begin to increase their
The
numbers?
street don't start paying attention to adjusting their numbers until the end of towards the end of the quarter,
Okay, yeah. So
starting down that path
another
now.
week or so. Yeah. All right. So, by the way, you just mentioned the key word for the last 2 days, which is the stock has gone up, I don't know, 14%,
Wow.
something 13, 14% in 2 days. It's not quite closed yet. I'll look again as we talk at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, when it closes.
Yeah.
Look, I don't normally watch the stock from day to day,
Right, right.
but this particular time I had to pay attention. I mean, the move
Way too much
was
fun.
very, very violent. It looks like a short squeeze. I think Tesla Bumamama suggested it may be a short squeeze. She seems to see some evidence for it. I think there's a combination of reasons, a significant combination of reasons. I
Okay,
think,
well, so,
go
so
ahead. Go
yeah, we
ahead.
talked a little bit in the green room before we started. I did want to start the conversation about where we are with a Kathy Wood quote. And she says, the longer the base, the bigger the breakout. You agreed that that might be part of what's going on. Now I'll turn you loose.
Well, we did say that very thing, and you did say that very thing in our last conversation. And we did look at that, and it is true, not only true, but it is definitely, the reality is that the longer the base, if a stock is going to break down, the breakdown is very violent. If it's going to break up, the breakup is very violent.
Mhm.
Because whatever has occurred has been ignored for a while, and then the sudden realization hits the market.
Right.
So there's no question that when you get a base developing, when something is really happening in the company, but it's not registered, it's not being acknowledged, then the reaction is very violent. That's one potential reason. The other potential reason is the possibility of a short squeeze,
Right.
which is, in Tesla's case, the short squeezes have been very violent in the
Right.
past.
Right.
This could be a short squeeze, although it seems to have gone on for quite a long time. Normally, these short squeezes are a day or two and then they're gone. And then, the other thing is that Elon gave an incredibly impactful All-in Summit interview. I think we talked about this, which I think had a lot to do, and the analysis that followed from that, I think must have been very bullish internally at the institutions. And so there's a lot of factors, involved. And the other thing is, the Robotaxi app has been released in at least to the Apple
Right. Apple Store.
client
Right.
phone owners, and the downloads were dramatic
Right.
on
Right.
day one.
Yes.
And that's kind of an indicator that a lot of the social arbitrageurs use. So, you've got a confluence of events.
Yeah. So to Kathy's point, the longer the base, the bigger the breakout. For me, it's felt like we've had this drip. For instance, I think maybe one that you're not alluding to right now, but I think might be one of your strongest things that you might be looking at would be a drip, drip, drip of robotaxi news.
Yep.
So another state, another
Yep.
city, another, the app coming out, the app doing well. I mean, there's drip, 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 like I don't know, for ever since it started, it's like another news, another news, another news, another news. Now everybody's waiting, as I was, for the actual, spreading of the thing amongst everybody and treating it like a real thing and taking the safety rider out and everything. But maybe a lot of this particular jump was that the drip just got to the point where it was like, you know what? It's okay. Here's how I kind of see it. The battlefield has been laid. All of the all the tanks and all of the all of the howitzer, whatever they are. I'm not, but the ships are in place. Everything's out there. They're laying the groundwork, and then at some point it's gonna ramp really, really quickly.
Well, we've spoken about that often, and I expected the analysts to be late to the party. I expected you know, sometime next year, the realization to occur, and not early in the year, later in the year. So I'm still skeptical of that perspective, but I could be wrong, and it could be a combination of factors, but either way, the stock is up, markedly. There's no way I can get away from that. And we could well see a 400 print before the end of the year. And we could also see the stock go
400
back.
before the end of the day.
I don't know about that.
Well, it was 396 last time I checked. So,
Oh, well, you're ahead of me. I've been traveling, as you know. So
yeah, we're at 395.05 with 2 minutes to go.
yeah, I don't think it'll get to
So
400.
may not meet 400 today, but maybe Monday.
And
Um,
it could also be 300 on Monday.
it could. You're right, 100%. I
Now,
don't.
will you sell at that point, Randy?
Oh man, this is going to last forever. Isn't it? This is going to be laugh on rain.
I'm going to pull your chain until you actually explode.
So, Larry, another one of the I mean, maybe the biggest news of the
Yeah.
last 2 weeks, which didn't move the stock, is the mega block, which, as I've pointed out already at least 17 times on my show, but I haven't been able to talk to you yet about it. There was like 8 new things in there.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't just the mega block; it was the transformers. It was the cells are a different cell and the way that it's configured. I mean, just
Well, the transformer manufacturing must have got people's attention more than the mega block,
right.
because the mega block, it's really adding a product to compete at the higher level because the other products are coming out and so on. And I actually saw some bear saying, "Oh, well, the energy business is failing right now. They're trying to pump it up." I mean, you only have to look at the backlog that they have and how it's built every single quarter.
Yeah.
And I'm actually doing an analysis. I'm getting Manus to do the analysis for me because it's just too much work to bother.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the reality is that the energy business is potentially a gigantic business, and we're only at the beginning of the product line. Now, the fact that they're manufacturing transformers is very important. The question is where they're getting the copper and how easily will they with what facility are they getting the copper? One thing we do know about Tesla above everything else is that they have got second to nobody. They're second to nobody in terms of supply chain.
Exactly.
So you must understand that if they're manufacturing the transformers, they have locked down their supply chain. And so that's a very, very, very bullish sign. It's a potentially huge line of business.
Yes.
I'm not sure the margins, the margins on transformers have got to be pretty damn good if they can deliver them, right?
Exactly. Exactly. So if they want
So
to,
that's very promising.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, everything's bullish and the economy is bullish. What do you think the Federal Reserve is going to do? A quarter point or half a point?
Okay. There's the difference between what they should do and what they will do.
Yeah,
So they should drop it a full point. They
not
might.
sure that's true.
Well, I think that would be based on. Okay. So let me take a little sidebar on this. Trueflation is at 2%.
Yeah, it's dropping quite dramatically
Every day they're at
every day.
2%. Their
Yeah,
year over year is under 2%.
yeah.
Now I started getting confused about this, Larry. So I asked Grok this morning. I actually talked about it on my show, but I wanted to share this with you as well and other people that didn't watch this morning. That Grok says, oh, what's going on there is that Trueflation is giving you the real numbers based on 12 million points. All right. then they take their real number and they give you a blog at the day before and they say, based on our real number, putting it into the CPI's way that they do things, we're going to estimate what CPI is going to say. Because the CPI is not the real inflation number.
Correct.
It's only 10,000 products or something. And a third of those, they're guessing. I mean, literally.
Yeah, Brad, Brad sort of criticized my statement about how poorly the Federal Reserve Bank policed the statistics. He said, you should read the report. It's replete with statistics. And I pointed out to him, no, those statistics that they use are not real statistics. They're not real time. And a lot of them are just, they'll phone 10,000 people and say, what do you think? I mean, they are not real statistics.
Right. It's really crazy. And so this is where trueflation is saying the real numbers too. We know that the Fed looks at trueflation. Powell has mentioned it in one or more, at least
He
one
didn't
time.
say that they take it into account.
He said, but he did use it in the conversation.
He used it in the conversation, but he certainly didn't indicate that this was a primary source or even a source for the decision making. He pointed out that trueflation was showing that it was below 2 or was getting down to 2.1 or whatever it was at that point.
Right.
And I think it went up actually for a while before it went down.
Right. So anyway, to my point is, I mean, the president of the United States says they should drop it 300 basis points. So I'm only saying 100. So
you're dividing Trump by 3. Is that what you're saying?
Right. So what do you think?
It's possible. Mark these words.
Okay.
It is quite possible that Powell is going to say, we don't yet know the outcome of these tariffs and whether or not the Supreme Court is going to support the president, and we don't know what's going to happen if the Supreme Court overturns these tariffs. So therefore, we better hold firm. And there's a chance that he can do that.
Oh my gosh.
The market will go back down 10, 15% instantly.
So another thing that nobody's taking into consideration, Larry, is that the Fed said that the tariffs would be worth approximately 0.6%.
Yeah.
Randy Kirk's analysis has always been that they would be worth about 0.6% for the year. And I did a deep dive on that. Even Grok agreed with me about 0.6, between 0.4 and 0.8, maybe as much as 1%. But if you take the 0.6 number and you subtract it from 2.9, we're at 2.3.
I'm not understanding that.
So in other words,
that the tariffs will reduce inflation?
No, the tariffs will increase inflation by 0.6. So if we're seeing the number, the CPI number at 2.9, you have to subtract out the impact of the tariff.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You're saying that if it's coming in at 2.9, then it's really 2.3 plus the tariffs.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's got to be on Powell's mind if he is consistent, because he's the one that came up with the 0.6 number. Because he was doing it the opposite way. He's saying that the Federal Reserve believed that by the end of the year, we would be at 2.5 plus the tariff. 0.6 would make it 3.1. Those are his exact words. And so here we are.
Randy, you retain these numbers very well. And so I'm not going to argue with that. All I can say is this. It's a spurious argument that he had at the time, because a one-time impact is not inflation.
But he actually said that in the same paragraph, Larry.
That's amazing.
He did.
Then why would the Federal Reserve not? I mean,
No, it's crazy making. It's crazy making.
It's crazy making.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So what do you?
And we've trashed the Federal Reserve on this channel so often that maybe we should get off this hobby horse of ours. But honestly, it is disconcerting, and I don't hold out a lot of hope for the coming decision.
Okay, so are you at 25 or you think it's going to be none? They're going to
I'm definitely no higher than 25, and there is a possibility that it could be none, and the excuse could be outstanding litigation, lack of clarity, and until that litigation is cleared, we need to take a very cautious step forward.
So let's switch then to the Elon Musk's interview at the All In Summit.
Yeah.
Do you recall any takeaways you had from that? Was there anything in particular that impacted you during that call?
Yeah, we did get a timeline on AI5, very good timeline on AI5, and it actually accorded with my numbers very well.
Nice.
The AI5 is coming at the end of next year.
End of 26.
Yeah, end of next year. So I think that we will not see them in cars until 27.
Wow. Okay.
And therefore, I'm putting AI6 in about 29. 20, end of 28, early 29.
Okay.
That's what I believe.
Now, will AI6 and AI5 both be in the product line simultaneously? So you'll have some products that take the AI5 and some
No.
products that take no.
It'll be the same as we got with AI3 to AI4. Every new release of a car will contain AI6.
Okay.
So they'll do a refresh, and as they do a refresh, so they'll upgrade the chip. I think. I think there's this. Look, the AI5 is a sufficiently different interface. Will probably be a sufficiently different interface to AI4 as AI4 was to AI3, and that's why these things are not backwardly compatible.
Right.
But it's more than possible that AI6 and AI5 will retain the same interfaces. You can't be certain of it, and oftentimes that's not good engineering because there are new interfaces being standardized all the time, and the company wants to maintain the standards and so on and so forth. So the probability is that the engineering will change between chips.
So
AI5 to AI6 may be one of the first steps where they don't actually change the interface. But I think AI5 is going to be a definite change in interface.
so
Look, one of the reasons is they have to increase the speed of the transmission,
right,
and very often that means different, interface points or different interface types.
right. So one of the places I'm getting confused is that Elon also said that the AI6 chip would be $5,000 of the cost of the Optimus. And then again, I usually, to your point, I kind of have almost a magical, what do you call it, ability to remember conversations. But this time, I guess I got to go back and look because I thought Elon said there will be two AI6 chips in Optimus and four in the car.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I
so
think,
I have to believe if my recollection is correct, that the two would cost $5,000.
well, I I suspect that when he talks about the AI6 chip or the AI5 chip, we're talking about two chips all the time because
Okay.
I think the way the engineering works is there's always a chip that's running in shadow mode. And if anything goes wrong on the chip that's operating in real mode, the shadow mode can take over. So I think by definition, every installation is two chips on the
So
board.
then if my recollection again is correct and there's four in the car,
No,
then
there's not four in the car.
there's not four in the car. Okay, so that's where I made,
Two, there's two in the car,
okay, I need to
two
go back,
chips.
and find that or ask Rock to straighten me out, I guess. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, right now there's two chips. There certainly were two chips in AI3,
Okay.
and almost positive there are two chips in AI 4. I can't imagine why they would put 4 chips in.
So then the next question I have is if the AI 6 chip costs $5,000 in whatever configuration it is in the Optimus, then it's going to cost $6,000 in the car too. I mean, $5,000 in the car also. And we've always estimated or thought that the AI 3 or 4 was maybe costing $1,000 in the car. So that would mean our numbers all these years have been completely cattywampus when it comes to the cost in the car, or it's just a much more sophisticated product, and it will need this kind of capability for what he wants it to do in the future or something.
You know, one of the facts of, I mean, I need to go back and read what he said again, because I don't have memory of all of that detail. You know, I listen to it traveling, so
For sure.
I need to go and look at that. And the other thing is, I think that a very significant portion of the cost is memory, because they're talking about very large amounts of
Very much.
memory in these computers now.
And it will,
So I really and you know I think that we do have a breakdown of the current AI 4 computer, you know.
Mhm.
So there's this guy who takes apart these computers and does a pretty good breakdown of it. So I need to go back and study that. So
Yeah, yeah. So I thought that was kind of an interesting combination of issues. I don't know if you got to hear Robin Denholm today. She was interviewed today about Elon's comp package.
no, I didn't hear it.
Okay. Probably the only real thing that came out of it was they really pushed her on the politics, and she was pretty clear. She says, "Look, he's a private citizen. He can do what he wants to with regard to politics. We believe that this will be exciting. We believe the package is exciting enough that it will keep him focused on Tesla to the extent, and that he will want to get the package done because we've negotiated this thing together." That she reconfirmed that it was 10 separate meetings to hammer it out. But in no way, shape, or form, she tried to avoid it. Actually, she tried to kind of, walk away from it, but they nailed her on the very last question. And she just, no, he's a private citizen. He's going to do what he's going to do when it comes to politics.
Yeah. Well, it would be illegal to try and, force him not to talk about politics, I think. Um, it's a fine line the board walks in terms of saying what a CEO can or cannot say. Pretty fine line that they walk, notwithstanding the fact that, you know, school boards and school teachers now talk politics all the time and seem to talk some of the worst politics we've ever heard in our history, saying things that would have brought enormous storm, if teachers had said things like this in the past. And yet
Yeah.
they seem to be able to talk it like this with no consequence.
This particular time, I guess some of them are getting fired over their joy or their glee over Charlie Kirk's demise.
That must have happened today, because
Yeah,
up to last night, nobody was being fired.
yeah. There's been quite a few posts on X of teachers getting fired, professors getting fired, individuals getting fired. Uh,
It's about time we brought this to an end. I mean, the, what has happened to civility in this country? I have to say, I've stopped seeing some friends.
oh, mhm.
It pains me, but I've stopped seeing some friends. I got a letter from one of them, what have I done wrong? How have I upset you? What's happened? And I don't want to even tell him.
Yeah, yeah.
Look, I don't like the kind of trash talking that is done. And what I don't like, I don't, you know what? They can say what they like.
Mhm.
What I despise and dislike, and what I'm not prepared to do anymore, is that I'm not allowed to say,
Yes,
what
Yes,
my opinion on a certain subject is.
yes. Because it's evil. It's not wrong.
You
It's
know,
evil.
it would bring an absolute storm of response.
Yes.
And so in these people's company, I am intimidated.
Yeah.
And, you know, I could say whatever I want. My wife would be upset because they would be upset, and, you know, it would have a socially, you know, and my wife is aligned with my political thinking in many ways, not in every way. We disagree on some things, but it would be, you know, from a social point of view, it'd be very awkward. So I just choose not to see these people anymore.
No, actually, Larry, you're 100% on target. I can remember from college days, from early in my business career, you could talk to anybody about politics. It didn't matter. Now, sometimes if it was a business relationship, you didn't want to take a chance on making it too weird. You may not go there. There was the old story, don't talk politics or religion, you know.
Yeah.
But with my friends, with my associate, with people that I was
Yeah.
just, going out to a meal with or whatever. No, we could talk politics without.
Well, you know what happened in the 60s is the Vietnam War
Yeah,
became a subject that was forbidden.
right.
And I think, you know, everything devolved from there.
Yeah. I think
Anyway,
it's,
I mean,
yeah, I
it's
don't
not
know.
very pleasant.
Yeah, I'm hopeful that there seems to be so much pushback on the people that have been gleeful, or even there's already been a couple of people fired, network people fired over this today, because of
Was
the
this
things.
in from school systems and
Oh,
universities?
I'm talking about on the television.
Yeah, I know that there was somebody fired from CNN. I do
Think,
know that that
think
happened yesterday, actually.
maybe two now, and I'm hoping I don't want anybody to be canceled.
No.
I don't think anybody should be canceled for their thinking. But if the way that they see life is that it's okay to kill somebody for their point
Yeah.
of view,
Don't
then
want them teaching
I
my
don't,
children.
I'm teaching. I don't want them on my screen.
Yeah.
I certainly don't want them in my life. That's a different kind of level of psychopathy compared to just saying I'm pro-life or I'm pro-abortion or I'm go down the list of the ones that are the most contentious. I've lived in West LA for 50 years as a pro-lifer. I mean, we're talking about there was nobody. That was like the only one in the neighborhood who believed in pro-life. So I could get along with all those people. It wasn't a problem. I may have disagreed with them, but they got along with me. I got along with them.
All right. On the other subject is what do you think the Supreme Court's going to do with the tariffs?
I think there is a 10% chance, Larry, that they find a problem with them. I'm
I
having a
think the
hard.
chance is higher than that.
You think the chance is higher than that?
I think it's 50-50 right now.
50-50. Wow. Because
I mean, you
Robert's one
know, Article 2, I mean, the the problem is that there are some fence sitters in the Supreme Court.
right.
And this is tough enough that they could see this. You know, there's been 19 Supreme Court decisions on Trump's side.
Yes.
And this may be the one subject that they may feel, you know, it's time we stop this. And this is so close, this is so marginal that maybe this is the one that we stop them on.
Here's the other side of it. I think that the Supreme Court is pragmatic. I'm talking about the 6 Republican members. I think they're pragmatic. And I think that they will see that unwinding this is crazy, and that Trump should get his head. And maybe they'll even say in the opinion, if Congress doesn't want the president to have these powers, take them back. You've created these 6 different ways that the president can do tariffs. Well, if you don't want to give him those powers, then vote and take them away.
Yeah, it's very interesting. The thing about this particular thing is these are not powers reserved under Section 2 of the Constitution. So because they're not powers reserved under Section 2, they are powers that, are interpreted as a result of some laws and rules that have, been implemented over time. So, this is a little different from all the decisions that have been made up to now, where, the lower courts are trying to challenge the Section 2 powers. But I think that, so if the fence sitters want to sit on the fence in this case, or want to, find against him, there's enough stuff there for them to do that.
So one of
But I'll tell you something very interesting.
yep.
I don't know if people realize it, but all these court cases, all these 19 court cases, have given Trump unprecedented
Right.
executive powers that no president since Franklin Delano Roosevelt has felt empowered
To use. Yeah.
to use.
Yeah.
So the backfire from these, crazy court rush to court,
Right.
is that Trump has been empowered like no president before him.
Right. 100%. Now let's go back though for one last shot at this tariff, because it's going to be an important decision.
Yes, it
Oh,
is.
we probably won't know until November, and they might even, Larry, they're going to hear the arguments in regular session.
Yeah,
It is possible that they will hold off the decision until next May. And
that'd be a good thing.
that would allow this to just go on, and then they make a decision in the normal course. But one last thought with regard to the actual circumstance. So my reading of the appeals court is not that this is not okay for the Congress to give the president the authority, but rather that there is no invasion. So they're coming that one of the main fights is over whether this is really an invasion or not, whether it fits the criteria of this old piece of legislation. And this is also going to be what's going to happen if this business with blowing up the boat off of Venezuela, because we blew up lots and lots of Barbary pirates and other situations. But does that fit? So you get into a definitional issue of where does the power under that particular law start and end? So again, that gives the Supreme Court a lot of leeway to say, no, this seems to fit, and it's not like anybody can say, well, no, you're wrong. Yeah, you can, but it's like, well, definitionally, we've just decided this. It's not fundamental. It's not first principles. It's more like,
Third principles.
yeah, right.
Well, my friend, I think that brings Friday to an end.
Okay.
We're very close to the end of trading as well.
We passed the end of trading. So
Yeah, it's 4:26. Good grief.
yeah, I know.
We've been nattering away for an hour?
Yes, so we closed at 396, Larry, 395.94 to be honest. And in the
I told you they wouldn't get anywhere near 400.
and we're just a little tiny bit down in the afterburn. The Dow was down a tad, down 0.59, NASDAQ up a tad.
But wait a minute, it's Friday today, right?
It's Friday, but the NASDAQ was probably 100% up on
No,
Tesla.
but there's no post trading. There's
No,
just
there's not.
a
No
cross.
post trading on the stocks. There's just no futures trading.
Yeah.
So there's after hours trading on the stocks every day.
Uh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it's right here. It's here.
Well, normally there's a cross that, they do the settlements, and that typically will
So the
move
stocks,
like a couple of.
stocks trade after hours till 5 o'clock California, 8 o'clock Eastern. But the futures don't trade on Friday. The equities futures, well, almost all the futures, I guess none of the futures trade on Friday after the bell. And did you know that the NASDAQ is about ready to go 24/7?
I saw that. I've never used after hours trading. I've never
Yeah,
got involved in that at all.
either. I
I guess I
watched.
just don't, I don't, yeah, I don't do enough.
Yeah. So the saddest part for me today, Larry, you'll probably know, is that the bonds went up, which is, what are you talking
That's
about? Come
funny.
on. So up 5.7 basis points, all the way back to 4.068. But I think once the Fed decides, I do believe if they give the quarter point, I do believe we'll finally get down into the threes. What do you think?
Three handle would be very good. I want to see mortgage rates plunge.
Me too, especially. Oil up a little bit today, not much. City 62.60, so very solid number there. Not much happening in the oil patch. Apparently, there's a little bit too much right now, just a tad too much oversupply. Natural gas also up a tad, but sitting at 2,941. So as we've looked at it for the last, it's been at like 3 plus or minus. Not as much volatility recently. Okay, Larry, here we come. Since you're always going to pull my chain, this is
Cool.
this is when I'll be pulling your chain from now until Christmas. Gold is up another $7 to 36.80.
God.
There are now people calling a 4 and some people calling a 5.
And it's interesting because I think crypto, I thought crypto is going to take the air out of gold.
Yeah.
But it looks like they're moving closely to, they correlated quite closely.
Yeah. Actually, gold's doing better than crypto this year.
This year it is, yeah.
This
Yeah.
year.
Oh, crypto, I think crypto had a good day.
So my thing, Larry, I've been saying it for the whole time you've known me, and I'm going to keep saying it until somebody proves me wrong, but most people don't want to be bothered with it because it's demographics, and nobody wants to talk about demographics. 50% of American wealth is in adults over 55. Adults over 55 are not spending. They don't spend. So what do? They save or they invest. What are they investing
But
in?
there's a massive movement of, I mean, movement of money from these over 55s to their children.
It's going to happen, and it is
No,
happening.
it's happening. It's happening.
But my point is that right now, people they're investing. What are you going to invest in? You going to buy another house? No, you're putting it in gold. You're putting it in Bitcoin if you think that'd be fun. You're putting it in equities if you've got something you like. So this massive amount of wealth in the hands of people in the baby boom generation is something that's bothering the next two generations. They're not very happy about it, except they hope they're going to get some of it. But I think it's the reason why these assets are all so high. It's like, what are you going to do with the money? Every asset class, except for commodities, is crazy.
And it's going to continue for a while, right?
It could continue for a long while. Well, especially then we get to my other hobby horse, Larry, that's productivity. So if productivity starts climbing like Kathy and I and you probably agree, if productivity starts going up 5, 6, 7% a year, then that's just going to create more wealth, and that's going to create even more asset appreciation.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We have to do a deep dive into that.
Do a deep dive. Demographics, you know how much I love demographics and how much I think it's a big piece of the story, but nobody else is willing to do the work. So, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Oh, we forgot to talk about Bitcoin. Wait a minute. Here we go.
Bitcoin was up today, I'm sure.
It was 1744. We're now at 116,168. So we are beginning to approach the 120,
Yeah,
122. I forget.
122.
I think so. And Ether, I'm sorry, because I'm now reporting on Ether, Larry, because people asked. Up 5.11% today.
Wow.
Tom Lee must be having an impact. Tom Lee's pumping Ether like every day.
Wow.
5.11% today. Well, I've been talking to my wife about a Bitcoin investment or an Ether investment. She says, we're going to have a little bit of extra cash flow next year, starting in May. And she says, okay, in May, you can put a little bit of money in, into the Bitcoin world.
Yeah, I've got a very little bit of money in Bitcoin. It's it's beginning to acquire some more value.
Yeah, it's like I only used to have a little money in Bitcoin. Kathy Wood must be saying today, okay, do I have to sell Tesla now? Because I got too much percent.
It's getting to that time.
Getting to that time. Larry, as always, it's a phenomenal thing to have you on board. I hope you have a great time there in Florida with you're speaking today?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I'm speaking to today. I think
Oh,
today is the meet and greet.
oh, okay.
So we'll
You're
see.
speaking sometime.
Yeah, I am speaking tomorrow for sure, but I haven't really checked. You know what? I'm going to go down in my unshaven state, but I'll put on my Cybertruck hat.
There you go. And that way,
Uh,
then
Ready for it?
people will
See, I've
ask.
got my foundation t-shirt. I'm ready.
You're ready to go.
Unshaven, but ready.
All right. Thanks, Larry. And to
Take
all of
care.
you out there, it's been great talking to you.